So you can go directly to our YouTube, Detroit New Tech, and you should be able to see this live as well, and you can share the link. So, all right, perfect. All right, if you can see the screen virtually, I want to make sure you are all set up before I keep moving forward. If you can see the screen that I'm sharing with you, please give me a thumbs up in the comments or a thumbs up on your virtual screen. That would be amazing. Perfect. I see the thumbs up. I love it. Now I am going to pin the screen that you will be able to see me clearly from, because I'm going to be moving around. So I'm going to stop my video here, and you should still be able to see me in another screen that I'm going to pin. All right. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable. It's rainy. It's kind of tired. I get it. I get it. I'm gonna do it one more time, just a little bit, not too much energy. It's an echoey room. How are we doing, everybody? I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, thank you for coming to Detroit New Tech. I'm going to get my orders in a fair real quickly. All right. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Now, virtually, if you're seeing the screen right now, again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming virtually. Thank everyone who is in person coming. I love how 2022 has us talking to two crowds now. I love it. It's great. But virtually, you see we have a couple questions up on our screen. So please, please, please feel free to fill that out. Feel free to fill that out. I'm going to turn this amazing, lovely, calming music all the way down to such a low volume you can't hear it. All right. So if you can fill that out in the chat. Let us know who you are. Detroit New Tech is a big community to where we like to understand your why you even came here. We are a big I would say organization, but we're just a big friendly people, understanding about business, understanding about entrepreneurship, and really wanting to connect. So please leave your name, your contact info, links to any social media, what organization you're working with, the value you think you can offer the community, and what do you think the community can assist you with. And that goes for everybody in person as well. Don't be afraid to contact or meet up with somebody after everyone is finished presenting, introducing yourself, introducing what you do. This is a great place to network, and I do not want to leave anybody out of the networking field. So let's get to going. So welcome to Detroit New Tech. I'm going to share with you a couple stats about what we do. The first couple things is that we were founded in 2010. So we have over 2,400 members. I think we're right now approaching 2,600. Really cool. A lot of people interacting virtually online. But what this was organically built for was for entrepreneurships to have a space to connect, have a space to understand, have a space to where investors can come, have a space to where they can listen, just have a space in the Metro Detroit area to where entrepreneurs, saying that over and over, you will really get tongue-tied, will have a space to understand, learn, and hopefully get invested in along the further routes. We encourage and highlight the startup realm, and now we are even going abroad. So we've been doing this for a long while. I mean, 2010, I think a lot of things have changed already since then. But now we've recognized, if you look around where we're at, we're in downtown Detroit. And what's amazing about it is that a lot of people that are here now weren't here 10 years ago. A lot of people who are here now are figuring out a lot about our business community, a lot about our business assets. And what makes that amazing is that Detroit has a real hotspot here. Detroit has something that can really be capitalized on and understood about. So we are even bringing other people in who are more curious about the Detroit market to talk a little bit more about themselves, which I think is super exciting. And hopefully we will be able to see some of these presenters along within this next year. Now, a little bit about me, because why listen to somebody that you have no idea about? I wouldn't. I would just walk out the door. Now, I did hear that there is around a 30% statistic increase, a 30% likability increase, that if somebody shows you like a picture of their family or something, like, you know, it makes you like them a little bit more. I'm like, statistics are really silly. Like, I really try not to listen to all of the statistics that I see, except this one. So I'm going to show you my family. This is my amazing wife right here. I've known her since I was younger than you, sir. I've known my wife since I was around 3 years old. And she's been my first best friend, and now she's going to be the person I die with. That's funny. And those are 2 kids. Our oldest, he is turning 7, and he is wondering, I'm sorry, he turned 7. He's wondering why a camel has 1 hump instead of 2 humps right now. So that's why he's looking in the distance. And then the other one is about to turn 2 years old. His name is Malachi. I'm the very family-oriented guy. So even though I like to keep myself busy, I love my family. Now, virtually, if my likability went up by 30%, please give me a thumbs up. I want to know if this statistic works. All right. Now, again, my name is Micah Sanders. What I do is I work for a company called Accelerate Kit. I do marketing and associate work, do PR work. So what that includes is certain things like social media updates, newsletter outputs, content creation, video editing, a lot of this extra stuff. But let's get to the fun stuff, my hobbies, the stuff I don't do while I'm at work. And that is playing pool. I got to do that with the date from one of my with my wife's anniversary, which is on Valentine's Day. If you're in the chat, you can say "oh," it's okay. I picked Valentine's Day because I didn't want to forget our anniversary date 3 years down the line. So I thought I can't forget it then. So I love playing pool. I love photo and video editing because that's just who I am. That's how it started off. And then I just love nature. I love being able to look out and just kind of get my breath of fresh air before I get back in the madness of the world. Now, the reason why I share with you all of this is just because my passion is about sharing things and increasing light upon things that somebody may not have noticed. That's all what marketing is. Marketing is just letting you know something about a product that you may or may not have known that may get your attention. But I recognize that certain things that are really cool to get your attention, I would love to share with you about. So that's kind of how I'm here. And that's what makes me, I think, an okay host about Detroit New Tech, because we see a whole bunch of companies, whole bunch of entrepreneurs you may never have met in your whole entire life that you're getting to meet today. So let's get this party started and get to meet them. The schedule is a little bit off on the time, just because we had to get some things and technical difficulties set up. But our first speaker is going to be Dan Farelli, a co-founder of Inngest. And then we're going to have Q&A. Now, to give you some house etiquette rules, each speaker is going to have 10 minutes to speak. Now, if you go over your 10 minutes, you do have Q&A. So that is a chance for the virtual audience or for us to ask you questions. That's also a 10 minutes. If you go over when you're speaking, you're just going over into your Q&A. So that's just less questions. So if you don't want anyone to ask you any questions at your business at all, you can have 20 minutes, okay? But we would like for you to keep it at 10 minutes. The second speaker is David Gaskian, a co-founder of ALTUMATIM. I said it right? Perfect. And Q&A after that, plus, and our last speaker is D'Angelo Smith, CEO and founder of Ticket Avengers. I'm very excited to hear about this. If it's about movies, I'm even more excited. I want to see Sonic 2. And then we're going to have our closing remarks, okay? Are we all good? Now, before we start, I definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Our sponsors is one of the companies, both of the companies I work for, Accelerate Kid and Accelerate for Kids, VAM, which is a law firm agency, and then where we're sitting at, Altimetrics Collider, that is where we're doing our in-person. Can we just clap it up for the space that we're at right here? One of the people who run Collider is Ryan right there. So thank you for allowing us to see this. She already gave me the cue of saying, don't let me speak. Don't make me come up here, so I won't. So without further ado, it is 7:25. I want us to get to our first speaker, Dan Farelli. He is coming up here to talk about Inngest. I would go much further into it, but I think he's going to do a better job. So Dan, if you can come on up. All right. If you want to use your mic, you want to use the mic, or you good? Perfect, perfect. Yes. So what I'm going to do is right here. Now, everybody on virtual, you're going to get a brief interruption, but then you're going to be able to see his slides very shortly. Okay.
So if I want to just share screen,
Please do. Actually, I will control that.
make sure they know this is on my presenter notes.
Yes. And here is your mic for the virtual audience. You got to just put it somewhere.
Right. Wow. Let's see. Did that scale? Hold on, everybody out there virtually. So we figure this out. Was it? Oh, darn. Device is not detected.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Oh, things are small. Should it be this small?
Unplug and replug back in.
Oh, okay. I just thought I wasn't going to talk bad about you. I just thought that's how you saw. There. And it's doing that.
Just hold on a second, everyone virtually. This is the last time I've interacted with any human in the last 2 years, let alone use the laptop with someone else.
A very nice laptop. So you all know.
Could work a little better in this case. Wow, did you do it? Did you fix?
Almost fix it. I think I'm about to. That's the main display. This should be it. Display.
Yeah, that's.
Did I cancel this?
Try the manual setup.
You said yes, do manual setup?
Yeah, try.
Oh God. If it takes any more time, I can also just airdrop you this file. Oh, hold on, it did something different.
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
No, you're good. It's right now trying to detect his amazing Yorker device. Hope it says unknown again.
All right. Well,
Do you want me to try and run it from my computer and you can just run it using my computer? Or do you want something specific?
I do have something specific. I can just airdrop you the file. I don't know if that works. Sorry, everyone.
You should find me.
Okay. Just,
I'll let you know when I got it. Ah, there it is. Excellent. All right.
sorry about that.
No, you're good. I don't actually.
Your false steps there.
You better recognize mine too.
Sorry, I'll get out of your way.
No, you're good. You're good.
This is unknown.
Protecting any device.
Okay.
Well, while we're getting set up, is there anything that you would like to say first? I'm gonna make sure that this is going.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I think I messed it all up.
You're good.
The slide, everything's pretty slide driven. So let's see. I think I was saying to Ryan earlier, I think this is the first time that I've spoken in person since 2018. So, you know, I shouldn't expect that it goes all super smoothly.
Right here, but I can have the remote janky too. Like,
Is there another remote you guys have?
yeah. Okay, so I just turned the TV off just to make sure the remote is working.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's Dan Farrelly's face.
Oh, so we got something. You fixed it. Somebody fixed it. Brian fixed it.
Beautiful.
But
All right. So now you can just go to where you airdrop.
Where?
And
Oh,
that
yeah.
is
Sorry.
right here. Now, if you want, we can try and put it back to your laptop.
No, let's not risk it.
No, let's not do that. Let's keep this right here. All right. So
Did it pop open?
it is about to, yep, it's opening up in Keynote. Is that good?
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's perfect. I'm nothing without my presenter notes.
5, 4.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
That's
There we go. And then if I hit play, it'll work. It'll go on the, if you hit play, should do the split screen mode. There we go. This is perfect. Just a quick thing to bring my presenter notes up, and there we go. Whoops, that's too soon. All right, everybody. Thank you for bearing with me. I think I've cut into all of my time and my QA time. So that's a wrap. Thank you for checking me out, and really check out the website. It's Inngest.com. And yeah, no, okay. So, all right, real quick. All right, everyone, thanks for coming out tonight in person and virtually. Sorry for just really messing that up, my first trip back, but yeah, I'm honored to kick off tonight. And I'll tell you a little bit about our new developer platform, Inngest. So first, brief intro, inspired by Micah. My name is Dan, and I joined Inngest in January 2022. Previously, I was the CTO at Buffer.com, which you might have heard of, or maybe not, depending on your space. But I was there for the last few years and really enjoyed leading that team. And I've also just relocated to the Detroit Metro from Brooklyn in the midst of pandemic a couple years back. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about our platform Inngest, but first, a little bit of the evolution of building software products. This is very high level and simple, so please forgive me, but it's telling a story here. So really high level, I want to show you where it was and where it's going.
I just want to share my screen real quick.
Oh.
The virtual audience wants to see it.
Oh, whoops.
No, you're good. Here, let me come around real quick.
So you need to pop out of this.
Yep. And boom, boom.
Yeah, that should be it.
There. And then press play on this.
Yeah.
You said.
Yeah,
Perfect.
see.
You're good.
All right.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Mike. No worries. Yeah, so back to the simple arc. originally we had software that had to run on premises, right? It ran in a server, in a closet, in your office, with some custom software, maybe with something licensed like Microsoft Exchange Server. Then we started moving things to the cloud, like Amazon. We could rent any number of virtual servers in somebody else's data center, build and configure all our applications ourselves, run it on the cloud. Then over time, cloud services and open source software started to explode, allowing you to stitch together a bunch of pieces of software that you yourself did not have to develop, but you could stitch them together and not have to manage, say, a database or file storage or video processing. So all the big clouds like AWS and Azure, all of hundreds of these services to choose from, and you stitch them all together with your own code or configuration into your application. Now, fast forward to today. To build applications, we don't just use cloud services. We use tons of external services like Stripe for credit card processing, or Salesforce for CRMs, or APIs for inventory or shipping. So we interact with so many different services. So this means today that applications are rarely self-contained. They're compiled of hundreds of services across the web that must be integrated into one cohesive product. And things are less centralized than they've ever been. So we believe the best way to build applications today with our current setup and our current environment is event-driven and serverless. Both may be buzzwords, but I'd like to walk you through the benefits of each. And hopefully, if you're non-technical, I can grab some of these things and translate them to real-world examples for you. So first, what is event-driven software? A basic explanation for the non-technical here is that event-driven applications are designed to react to event data when that data is sent, often in real time. So examples of events, you might think, what is an event, right? Is it a live event like we're here right now that I botched earlier, or is it something else, right? So it is a user interaction. A user signs up, that's an event. A user responds to a text message, that's an event. Or there could be some external service. A credit card charge gets failed, or a package was delivered, right? Everything's online these days. So if you've ever run against a concept or used something like Zapier or if this then that, you've been using event-driven kind of models. So as I said earlier, modern products are combinations of tens or hundreds of separate services or systems. For example, does anybody handle their own credit card processing directly with Visa or MasterCard? No, they use Stripe, right? Same things with CRM, Salesforce, or something similar. So, everything is integrated with another service. So why events? Events are the smallest construct of any piece of data that describes an interaction, what happened in a system. So take my example right here, which is a user requests a ride on Uber. So that's, you tapped a button in an app, and that was the action that you took. So that's the smallest little component right there. Not the other bits, but that's what you did. So another benefit, and this is a little bit more technical, is that all events are immutable. And what that means is that their data is frozen in history and it doesn't change. So that means that event should never and can never be edited. So in the Uber example, you did that thing in history, you requested that ride at that time where you were, and that will always be true, and that always will exist. That does not change. So this allows you to have a record of all the inputs into your system, not just the result. A lot of common patterns as applications is they take a lot of inputs, they take things that you do, buttons that you press, and then they update some sort of state in a database, and there isn't that trail behind. So jumping ahead, what does this enable? Some clear benefits to building out these applications. Event-driven, or when issues arise, as they often do, it's easier to debug the source of an issue. You can trace that data back to the source and see what triggered your code. Also, when writing new code and modifying existing code, you have a full history of all your inputs, and you can use that to test new changes and what you're going to use that. So you have a whole log of everything that ever happened. Also, in the event of an issue, say something has an outage, you can use those historical events and replay all your code again. So like nothing happened, to come back from failures more easily. You should not lose that event, that interaction. You also can do kind of some advanced coordination things. Like say, for example, you could build a complex workflow of code. Like if your application generated a shipping label for a customer's package, you sent them an email that said, hey, your package is on the way. But then after 2 days, no follow-up event that says package received by UPS ever is received by your system. You can then alert the customer and say there's been a delay. You can then send it and create a ticket in your own internal systems that say there's something issue with this package that needs to be investigated. There's a lot of benefits to this. Check. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, they should be able to now.
Okay.
And all we have to do is play.
Yeah, you're close. And then there should be notes somewhere. Oh, it switched off.
Yeah. There we go.
It's back. All right. All right. So jumping right back in. Some use cases. I'll run through this real quickly. Marketing and sales teams. Often workflow with a lot of systems. You're working with things like pushing data into a CRM. User signs up. You want to update someone in a CRM, or they fill out the lead capture form. Then maybe when your sales team updates that CRM, you push that data back to your database. You email the customer. you're building workflows. It's all driven by inputs, outputs, and different systems. Second case, IoT. IoT devices and sensors from fleets of vehicles, smart homes can send millions of events all day. And those, you need to store all of that data, but you also need to selectively filter through all of that data and choose what you want to, like, what is the noise. So we allow you to take unlimited number of sources and also filter that data. You can send what you want. Lastly, we work with anything with an integration or webhook, which is luckily these days almost everything. What that webhook is, for those that are unfamiliar, basically it's an endpoint on a server that allows you to receive requests and receive data from another server. These can be sent from anywhere on the web, and these are sent by a third party in any volume, mostly sent to push real-time updates to your application. So think about things like a Slack message reply that can send a webhook, an SMS message that you receive back to your special phone number that can send a webhook. And Inngest can be the hub for all these events, which allow you to then just like build on new functionality afterwards. So I'm running definitely late on time right here. So we have different features. I'll just hit these real quick. We offer a web-based IDE, so you can write your functions and test them in the browser. We automatically generate types for your programming languages, so it's easier to work with events and have confidence in what the shape of the event is. Our platform gives complete visibility at the event level, so you get a full history, all the volume, all the monitoring. So you realize something goes wrong. You can also dive into the details on a per event basis and inspect the exact event payload that you received when, and understand what data was sent to your code. And we also have a developer CLI, which allows you to fully build and manage everything from the command line. So developer focused part there. So we have many more fun stuff that I won't be able to get to. And to wrap it up, I will just say that for us, where we're at, we just relaunched the MVP, fully redesigned, focused on functioning, editing, and testing experience with a completely new design and a new CLI. So we're eager for feedback. If you're interested in trying, sign up today, it's free. Or if you're interested in sharing challenges building such system, love to chat with you. Please email me and sign up today. Thank you for listening. Sorry for all the hiccups there. All right.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. This is the time we have 8 minutes for Q&A time. You did actually great.
All right.
You did good. And our virtual audience that you love as well.
All right.
You were doing amazing. So it is great. Does anybody here have any questions first? And then I'll let our virtual audience take a stab. So,
Micah was just saying that he's going to ask the in-person for some questions, and then would love to hear some questions from the virtual audience when you get a chance. Yeah.
What's your revenue model? How do you charge?
Sure. The question was, what's your revenue model for the virtual people? How do we charge? We currently charge based on, it's a difficult thing with usage and high volume things like this. So right now we charge for, it's as new, just a bucket of pretty much function runs. We allow you to store unlimited number of events. And for paid plans, we store up to 6 months of the history of the given of your events. We'll store all that and we'll run functions, like we're still figuring out, honestly, our pricing thresholds. But our main plan right now is up to 10,000 executions per month, but really we can scale the system to whatever is needed. So I'd love some input for some customers to kind of help set those things. But yeah, thank you for that question. I don't know if that helps.
Yes.
Cool.
we have one question virtually right now from a Melissa. So Melissa, you may speak.
Hey there, Dan, you did a great job. There was a lot happening there and you did a great job. So I would just say next time you're doing an in-person presentation, you get there early and do a quick run through with your host so you guys know what you're doing. But I'm sure your audience is fine with that. I also help co-lead and MC the 1 Million Cups Detroit chapter. And we have people like yourself, new entrepreneur, practice presenting with us. You know, you're not pitching, you're not making a going for sale or investment, but you can practice with us too. So if you want to do that, you can do that. But that's actually not my question. My question really is, who's, I wish in your presentation, I wish right in the beginning, you would have said who you're selling this product to, because I'm an event professional and you talked about events. So you caught my attention, but then I learned that that is a term used in an entirely different line of business. And so can you share with us a little bit about how you came up with this niche idea and who you are creating this for? Like, who should be trying this out for free?
Sure. Yeah. What's our target customer? Thanks for that question, Melissa. I appreciate it. Yeah. So for our target customer, honestly, why I joined this company was, and why I came to start it with my friend Tony. He was building something because he had experienced it. He was the head of engineering at a software company himself, and found that building these systems are difficult and that it takes time and resources that we just don't have. And I know that when I chatted with him about it, I had run a software team of 35 engineers for a while. And we always wanted to build out systems like this and didn't have the time, didn't have the expertise to build something. So our target customer right now is any team that has engineers. So software engineers, anywhere between 5 and say 30. It is someone who has those 3 criteria that I mentioned. They're either maybe lacking experience, they're lacking the time, or they're lacking the money. So anything can work. You might be experienced and you might know how to build a system like this, but the challenge is you don't have the time and money, or you don't have the people on your team. You're 5-person, maybe you're a great engineer and you're just 5 people. So you just don't have the time. You need to get to market faster, right? There's a lot of money floating around venture capital, so maybe you need to speed it up, right? Maybe you couldn't hire the engineers. So we're looking at teams mostly like 5 to say 30 right now, software teams that have some engineers who are building out products and want to build things that scale. And mostly if they understand event-driven architecture, they're going to understand the benefits of the product. But definitely there's some education things that we need to do for growing our market for sure. Oh, sorry, you're muted again.
Yeah, thank you very much. That answered my question. Thank you.
Sure, thanks.
We have 3 more minutes for some more questions.
Okay.
Angelo,
Sure.
Go
ahead. You in the back.
I think you mentioned some similar products at the beginning that are potentially your competitors, like Zapier via DNT. There's also some established services like AWS, SNS, which you wouldn't really work on. So how does your product stand out from these competitors and similar services?
Sure. Then for virtual, the question was, how does our product stand out from competitors or the existing market, different services like Zapier, if this then that, and services that AWS provides like SNS. So yeah, I guess you're right. So Zapier and if this then that are consumer facing products. They are more in the low code, no code space, if you were to call it that. We are a development platform. We are for people that are writing code, and which then goes to your second part, which is, well, against AWS like SNS. And you could look at other things that are like managed Kafka, or they have event streams, they have Kinesis, they have Lambda, right? Yeah, those are all great. I think the challenge that we've heard is that those take a lot of time to configure. You need to know your AWS in and out, right? Just using them as an example, you might be extremely well versed at that. And that's where you get the experience, right? I think there are benefits that we give to the average person where you don't need to set up a Kinesis event stream and configure that and know how to scale that and then hook up Lambda correctly and handle your deploys to Lambda and your testing environment and your event schemas and your retry policies if something fails. So what we do is we give you that all in one platform, and you can do it. You can definitely do everything that we do today with AWS. The challenge is you're going to be configuring IAM profiles and Terraform or CloudFormation stuff for a long time. And maybe you're great at that. And maybe that's how you want to spend weeks and months of your time to get it right. That's fine. We want the people who either don't know how to do that or don't want to be bothered with it. So yeah, I don't know if that helps answer the question. Cool. We got one over here on the right.
I was just going to ask what, like, just out of curiosity, why webhooks was chosen?
Yeah, the question was why webhooks was chosen. Yeah, so mostly it's about events, and you can use different things like event streams, Kinesis, Kafka. You can do all sorts of event consumers. So it doesn't have to be webhooks. The benefit is that there are a lot of events that people are interacting with immediately. Like first, if they haven't done an event-driven system, it's going to be like a Stripe webhook. It's going to be a Twilio webhook, some Salesforce events, things like that. So I think what we have is it's a great, easy to get started with events entry point. So we chose webhooks because most people are familiar with that. And then we can kind of expand. You can send us any type of data you want through our API. So really anything you want.
And that is it for the question.
I'll check. I would love to hear your question later.
Yeah, it was around the competitive space.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, DNU Tech, and I appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Let's give our fellow speaker another round of applause. All right, all right. Without further ado, we are going to go into our next speaker. Our next speaker is David Gasky, the co-founder of ALTUMATIM. I'm going to be giving him the mic so he can stand up here. However, I'm going to be directing his slides and I'm going to be pulling them up. But while he gets set up, he can talk a little bit about ALTUMATIM before we get into his slide presentation.
All right, thank you, Micah. It's great to be here. Thanks everybody for coming out in person and attending virtually. It's a pleasure to be able to introduce ALTUMATIM to you. I'm co-founder of ALTUMATIM with my co-founder Vasu, who is here today. Let you get the slides up.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you a little bit about myself while he's hunting through for the slide presentation. I am, apart from being co-founder of ALTUMATIM, I'm an intellectual property attorney. Been practicing law for 30 years, focused on patents, trademarks, copyrights. My background before law school was I studied electrical engineering, and that's a little bit of the backstory as to how I got into this business that we are now in, called ALTUMATIM.
Pulled up the 5-minute version. Is that the latest one that you sent us?
The 10-minute was the one that Q said he wanted.
Yes.
But I can work from either one. I mean, the 10-minute has more slides to show.
This is the only one that I
all right.
Yeah, but we'll show from here.
No, this is fine.
Perfect.
I'll just talk more.
All right.
Got it.
All right.
Is it just going down? Because I can just do it with the down arrow.
Right, all you have to do is press
All right.
the side button. Let me
We're
move
good.
the zoom out the way for you. Perfect. So all you have to do is just press your arrows.
All right.
Boom. All right.
Well, let's go back a couple more. All right, so ALTUMATIM is the only e-discovery app that is designed to help attorneys win. their case. Now that's a mouthful, and let me break that down a little bit for you so we're all on the same page. What is e-discovery? First of all, if you don't know, in the process of a lawsuit, there is a phase called discovery. And that's the phase where each side is gathering the evidence. Am I whistling or is that? That's outside. Okay. I apologize for that online. That's not feedback from me. There's something going on the street. So the phase of litigation where each side gathers the evidence to try to prove their case. And that involves exchanging information in the form of documents primarily. Now, when I started as a young attorney, everything was physical paper. You had to go to a location and inspect piles and piles or file cabinets and file cabinets or boxes and boxes and boxes of physical paper, identify which ones you want copies of, then they would make copies and they would send them to you, and that was kind of how the process went. All of that changed radically when everything started going digital. Now everything is ESI or electronically stored information, and that really caused an explosion of problems for attorneys in this process. I can think back 15 to 20 years, people were still debating, do we really want to exchange the emails? Well, today it's not only almost all emails, but it's thousands and thousands of emails. So the whole process of discovery really changed. And an e-discovery market emerged. People recognized, now I don't just have to look at these paper documents. I have entire servers on my client's system. What do we do? How do we get through all this information? And the cost went through the roof. So this market emerged where service providers started helping people manage that discovery process. And 2019, $12 billion were spent just on e-discovery in this managing this process. The estimates are that by 2026, there will be a $24 billion market for e-discovery services. Now, most of the apps that are out there, most of the software that's available really just helps you manage this huge mountain of data and produce the documents that you have to give to the other side. That's what everybody focused on because that was the first problem that everybody recognized, is how in the world do we even get through this and get not only information to the other side. I'm going to wait for the siren to pass. We got all kinds of interruptions tonight, don't we? This is great. So not only do I have to figure out how do I get the information to the other side, the right information, but I certainly don't want to give them stuff that's protected by attorney-client privilege, other things that are confidential business information. So there are service providers out there that have people that will actually review documents and get through them for you. And then there are these e-discovery software programs that have come out to help people get through that part of the process. Now, what Ultimatum is different because what we set out to do was not help you manage and produce the documents, but how do you wade through that mountain of evidence and get to what you really need? How do you find that smoking gun? I mean, when I started out as an attorney, I had the good fortune of working with some really talented litigators. And one of them taught me from the very beginning, he said, look, you just get me my top 10 documents. I will win this case. I don't care if they've produced 500,000. There are 10 documents out there that I need to win. You get me those 10 and it's over. Another attorney I worked with would get everything he needed in a 1.5-inch binder. You walk into court and you see it in the movies, you know, these people, armies of attorneys coming in with boxes and boxes. And yeah, that happens. And you know, this guy would walk in and he'd see that and he'd smile and he'd say, I got everything I need right here. So every case ultimately boils down to a few details, a few important details. Those are the details that win. We set out in building Ultimatum to help you get to those details fast. Because if you can get to them before your opponent, you've got a huge tactical and strategic advantage. So now how in the world did we do this differently than everybody else? Why did we do that? How did we get to this point? Well, as I mentioned, I'm an intellectual property attorney with a background in electrical engineering. A number of years ago, Vasu was a client of mine. I represented him in a copyright infringement lawsuit. He wrote some pretty complex software that was the backbone of a startup company. That company eventually got sold to a very large company for a large sum of money. Well, the co-founders of that company didn't treat ownership of the company properly, didn't treat Vasu properly, and they didn't handle copyright of the software properly. So we ended up in court fighting over those issues. And during that process, Vasu got to see from the client perspective the pain points, what happens during this e-discovery process. And he, being the computer genius that he is, he would be asking me, well, can't we just do this? And can't we just do that? I mean, there's got to be an easier way to find the evidence that we need, because we're up against a big company with a huge law firm, and they're just dumping mounds and mounds of data on us. It's a war of attrition. They're trying to wear us out. They're trying to bury us so we can't get to what we need. So as we talked about that, I would say to him, software for lawyers, it's not that good. There's some pretty good products out there that help you manage and produce, but none of them are really focused on getting to the heart of the matter and helping you win your case. So that's what we set out to do. We thought, between the two of us, with my background, I know enough about computers. He now knows enough about the lawsuit and what goes on there. So we put our heads together, and it was a pretty big synergy, and we came up with Ultimatum. So how does Ultimatum help attorneys win? What did we set out to do when we built it? Well, I'm a firm believer that whoever tells the best story wins. A lot of attorneys will tell you the exact same thing. If you tell the better story, you will win this case. And think about that. Everybody can relate to a good story. I mean, life itself occurs in story form, doesn't it? There's a story to my life. I grew up on the west side of Detroit, went to the University of Michigan, studied electrical engineering, went to law school, as part of my life story. There's a story to your life. And isn't it interesting? Our stories intersect tonight, right here at the DNU Tech. So everybody can relate to a story. And juries or judges are human beings who need to relate to what you're trying to prove in court. So you do that through a story. The better story you tell that's credible and supported by evidence, the better your chances of winning. And there's a prime example of this. We provide Ultimatum for free to the Michigan Innocence Clinic at the University of Michigan. They focus on helping people who have been incarcerated but innocent, improperly put in jail, helping them get out. We've loaded a few cases for them, and they're using Ultimatum to help them do their investigations. The first case that they the first case that they were using Ultimatum for happens to also be on a Netflix documentary series called The Confession Tapes. If you watch The Confession Tapes on Netflix, season 1, episode 4 is called Trial by Fire. It's a story of a woman in Zeeland, Michigan, who was convicted of murdering her teenage daughter when their house burned down. Watching the documentary of that case, they interview the jurors at different points. And this one juror sits there, and at one point he says, the prosecution did a really good job of telling us exactly what happened. It was like every 30 seconds, they laid it out, what happened. And I paused and I said, that's it. You see, they told the story that the jury got. They grabbed a hold of the story and they convicted this poor woman who I believe is innocent. We'll find out over time if the Innocence Clinic is successful in getting her released. But that's a prime example of, if you tell the better story, you win. So the whole focus in the design of Ultimatum, from the user experience to the AI to the process that we used in developing, it's all story centric. It's all focused around telling the best story. How does Ultimatum tell you or help you tell your story? It's focused on results. It really does hone in on the game-changing documents that are going to win. It helps you to get there faster. And it gives you a strategic advantage, because if you get the document sooner, you know what's coming and you know where you can go. You might have a theory what story you want to tell, but you start finding documents that don't match up with that, you better change your story. You better change it fast. You can't change it 8 months later, because now things are, the ball is rolled too far down the hill. The other thing it does is it boosts your ability to outmaneuver opposing counsel. One thing we love to do in our office in cases is take what we call an early strike deposition. You grab a key witness from the other side and you get them in the room and you take their deposition before their attorney has even figured out exactly what their story is. They'll sometimes just make stuff up. And then you catch them in a lie later. That happened in a case we had in Oakland County not too long ago. And the judge in that case, because this guy, we deposed him early, we had a few documents. All we needed was a couple good documents. We got some good stuff out of this guy. He comes into court during trial, tells a different story. We were able to just pick him apart. And the judge, in his opinion over the case, said the guy was unbelievable. He was not credible at all, and therefore he lost. So it really does help you give you a strategic advantage. And that's just one example way that it does that. We're at 10?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go real quick here. So the AI that is built into Ultimatum, I call it attorney intelligence because it actually learns from the attorney what's important to your story. As you work on your case, it takes everything in that you do and sees how that fits in your story, and it gets you to the evidence you need based on that. It is easy to use. Attorneys are not, they don't like new things in terms of changing the way they run their practice. So he had to make it fit with what attorneys do. And the whole system is built around how an attorney thinks through, develops their case, develops their story, and it naturally fits in with that, which makes it easy. So Ultimatum to me is very exciting because it helps me in my practice. It was a lot of fun to build, and it's exciting seeing, you know, the new things that we're doing with it and seeing customers use it. I can't tell you how fun it is when we're training somebody how to use it to see their eyes light up when, oh my gosh, I just found that in 2 minutes. Are you kidding me? That would have taken us a week. And so it's a lot of fun that way. But it's also very exciting because there's a huge upside potential for revenue here. As I mentioned, the e-discovery industry is huge, somewhere in the 24 billion mark by 2026. If we can capture 1/10 of 1% of that market, that's $20 million a year. That's a small fraction of a very big, if you did a pie chart, you wouldn't even see the sliver. It's that small. So there's a huge potential for revenue here. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that on a subscription basis. And we're going to be able to get our customers through very specific target marketing. There are approximately 300,000 new federal lawsuits filed every year that are potential candidates for someone to use Ultimatum. There are many more filed, but there's a bunch that you wouldn't use Ultimatum for. On top of that, there's about 16 million new state court cases every year. Every case has at least two sides. Some have more. So we've got well over 500,000 potential new leads every year. And I've got the database because every one of those filings is a public record. So I know every case that was filed. I have an access to the database that tells me the attorneys. I have their contact information. We don't have to go out and mass market or search. We can target the very specific people who would use our product. And that's how we're gonna take Ultimatum and make it grow. So Ultimatum is elevated discovery. That's all I've got.
We want to open the floor for questions virtually and in person. So we have 8 minutes. Does anyone have any questions starting virtually? I mean,
Starting live?
starting in person.
Yes.
Is there any notable cases that Ultimatum was part of? Maybe one that was wrong because Ultimatum.
Okay, the question was, have there been any cases that were won because of Ultimatum? The answer to that is no, it's too new. We really just started marketing, putting our commercial version out this year, and cases take a long time to develop. So yeah, not yet. We did have, though, there are a few, some of the comments that we're getting, like from our customers. One of the first firms that we showed this to they saw it and they said, could we keep this proprietary to just us? Thinking we don't want another guy, he was saying, this is really great for finding evidence. I wonder if I could use this to present stuff at trial. He said, well, we didn't really design it for that, but I suppose if you wanted to use it, you could. And he said, on second thought, I don't want my opposing counsel to know about this. So, people recognize the advantage that you get. So I'm confident that some cases will be won in part because of ultimatum.
We do have a virtual question from
Yes.
Doug. How are law firms sifting through electronic discovery documents now? What are they spending those billions of dollars on now?
Okay. Do I need to repeat that, or you think everybody heard you?
No, I think people are.
Okay, great. So how are law firms sifting through all those documents now? They're doing it in a couple of ways. One is they'll put a team of people who will manually have to sit at their screen and review and go through all of those documents. You can hire a service. As I said, there are service providers out there. A lot of the spend in the industry goes toward that. Or they are using the existing e-discovery programs. But those programs don't have, what we're using is natural language understanding level of AI. They're using pretty straightforward machine learning. You build a model, you review, say, 1,000 documents. The machine then recognizes a model and it uses predictive coding to try to push other documents up to the top of your pile that are going to be closer to what you're looking at. The short answer to that question is they're spending a lot of time and a lot of money. That's how they're getting through it, if they get through it at all. In some cases, it's just too much and you just say, I can't get through it all. One other thing about ultimatum, though, is with it, because of the way we designed it, the way it gives you the most relevant information up top, up front, you don't have to review everything. You don't have to see everything. Once you have the documents that win the case, you want to know what else is out there in case there's a skeleton in the closet, but you can get away with not reading everything anymore.
It just seems like, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
There's a lot.
David, Chuck Murphy, I'm going to Howard alumni.
Hey, Chuck.
Cartel now. So we have Mike Mullen running our information governance group. I know they've got relativity, but so how would this be different than relativity? Relatively fit in that earlier one that you described in terms of not using the same type of attorney intelligence that you saw.
Right. Okay, so the question for those who are online is, how is ultimatum different than the existing products? The one that was mentioned was relativity, which is the big player. They're one of the original who started the process or started the idea of using these software programs to get through the whole mountain of ESI. Relativity is really focused on, like I said, helping you review, helping you produce documents. It's not designed to help you find the best documents. You can use relativity to do keyword searching, for example, okay? Ultimatum, really, you can keyword search with it. We have that option for you, but why use that when you can use something that's so much better? What we've done is we've created, if you think about a story, every story has a plot or a storyline. We have a storyline module where you put in the events of your story. What happened on this day, who was involved, who, what, where, when. So you create a storyline. Every story has a theme or a moral. So we have our topic module, because some attorneys like to think of their case in terms of the theories and the themes. And so you put in that information, describing your story just as you would talk to each other about what this is, what's involved. And then we have, every story has characters. So we have what we call our knowledge browser, which allows you to explore the connections, the relationships between people, but it also lets you look at the relationships between the entities or the people and your topics and your events. So it kind of brings all three of those basic story elements together. And what Ultimatum does is takes in your input. Basically, you just describe what happened, the story you want to tell through those different modules. It relates all of those together. No other program out there does anything like that. And it really does learn from you every step of the way. If you are, you enter in an event and it pulls up documents for you, and you find a key document that you say, this is a key document. it will reshuffle the pile and push other stuff up to the top to bring to you the best evidence, at least based on what it knows. And the more you work on it, the smarter it gets and the better and better it can bring evidence up. There's really nothing in the market that does that at all.
So I actually have a question as the host about this. So you said one thing, you talked about the skeletons. So I think my wife watches enough murder mysteries to where I recognize that it is about the story you tell, but it's also about what secrets might be hiding. Does your system have a way in not just exposing what's needed to help you win your story, but also helping, let's say, your lawyer or whomever is on your side to say, but there's this skeleton that this other person can use? Like, how does your system decipher which one is like helpful and which one is a skeleton?
Okay. For those who didn't hear the question, just in case, can Ultimatum help you figure out if there's a skeleton in your closet? Can it determine what's helpful to your story and what's not? What it does is it finds things that are related to your story. It doesn't decide for you whether it's good or bad. That's up to the attorney, is how do you do it? I mean, one thing I was taught early on was, just give me the facts, and I will say what they mean, or I will determine how to use them. Don't, and tell a client, don't lie to me, because, it's really going to fall apart if you just flat out lie. But just whatever the facts are, you tell them to me, I will deal with them. So Ultimatum basically does that. It gives you the facts. If this is relevant to your story, it may be bad. You'll know that, right. And it helps you find out too, for both sides. You could use Ultimatum, create your story and find everything you want. You could enter in what you think the other side's story is and find all the evidence that best supports their story. And you could compare them, say, I don't know, whose story is more credible here. I mean, you can use it that way too. I could talk for hours about what you could do with it. So.
Well, our time is actually up on the questions.
All right.
But these are really good questions. Can we give another hand? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This, y'all were saying some very interesting stuff today. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. However, I do not want to delay just for time. So our next speaker is D'Angelo Smith. He is with Ticket Avengers. I am going to be giving him the mic. And while I am pulling up his slides, he can describe a little bit more about himself. And did you want to actual real mic for the crowd, or do you think you're good?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm super excited to present to you guys Ticket Avengers. I think that this is an amazing space, and got a chance to learn a lot about a lot about different great companies, and yeah, excited to share with you more about what we're building at Ticket Avengers.
Just a second.
So like how you click through.
Yeah, for sure. So you're just going to clearly click the next part right here. I'm going to move this over to where everybody will be able to see it. And all you have to do, I have to find my mouse. All you have to do is just click it right here.
Okay.
So you should be able to see it there. So notes. That's not all you have, right?
Mm-mm. No, I said, did he get it?
There it is.
No.
That's where it starts.
Well, yeah, that's where I
Alright.
start.
So you can just click through.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, again, hey everyone, super excited to be here and share with you guys Ticket Avengers. So one of the biggest problems that a lot of people may not know of are expensive fines and fees. Typically, this affects low wealth to middle income families and communities. And although traffic ticket debt piles up disproportionately in those neighborhoods where are concentrated at people of color, it is bad for us all. So here's some content on that.
Yeah, just click through.
Okay.
And there's a couple blank slides that you have.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So one of the problems that we notice is legal fines and fees are expensive, and oftentimes 90% of low-income individuals cannot afford to pay their legal fines or fees. Another problem is that oftentimes when you have expensive fines or fees, you can't afford to pay them, and it leads to unemployment. Oftentimes, without a license, you can't get a job. You can't take your kids to school or your mom to the hospital. We've also realized that this problem leads to arrest warrants and jail time for people in these communities, and it costs taxpayers increases amounts of dollars to house overcrowded jails. So our utopia and our solution is the ability to handle now and pay later your legal fines or fees. And so what Ticket Avengers is an online platform that provides interest-free installments with no credit check to individuals to handle now and pay later their traffic tickets, parking tickets, or attorney fees. Our solution allows these motorists to actually avoid costly late fees, and that creates financial catastrophes. We've also realized that it's able to increase revenue by allowing these motorists to obtain the jobs that they're not able to obtain when they have licenses that are suspended. And also it brings money back into the community by using those ticketing dollars to better our roads and our education systems. So how it works is basically it's an app where you can actually go online and apply like your typical BNPO models like Afterpay, Klarna, or Affirm. So you can user or a motorist who is a traffic ticket holder or someone who's looking to hire an attorney, they're able to go online and apply for handle now, pay later. There's just a few short, simple steps where the user goes online and inputs their personal information. We've partnered with a company by the name of Plaid, where we received the asset reports for these individuals to help mitigate loan risk, and at the same time make sure that we're loaning out dollars that these motorists can actually afford to pay. So yeah, so basically what a user would do is they would actually go online. This is as far as our checkout solution. So with our checkout solution, we look to partner with municipalities, and partner with municipalities and attorneys will enable us to create this checkout solution that kind of makes it a lot easier to make these payments. We noticed that the legal space is kind of a daunting and it's navigating system where a lot of people find it a lot confusing. So we wanted to streamline that process of payments by creating this checkout solution that will allow you to actually go online to your municipal or merchant and go ahead and make that payment online if you have an account with Ticket Avengers. And if you don't, you're free to actually apply right then and there. And then your traffic tickets, fines, or fees would then be broken down into 4 or 6 weekly installments. That's just pretty much how the process looks. You would then log into your bank. You would go ahead and apply, enter your information, log into your bank account, and then you will receive a credit decision. Well, from there, a loan decision from there. Sorry. Right now, we feel that the timing for this is extremely important for a few reasons. We feel like it's super important because there's an emotional tie here to the community where people want to feel safe when they're driving on the road, especially during times where, especially people of color, feel less stressed when they're driving because they know that they are driving without a suspended license and have less of a chance of police interaction and being able to maybe be pulled over and then it maybe escalate from there. So just being able to make sure that these motorists are maintaining their driver's license is super important. We've also noticed that the BNPL model is to grow over 1,200% by the year 2024. Most millennials and Gen Z generation people have used some form of BNPL model, whether they used it to pay for sneakers or to pay for a new television. They've used this buy now, pay later method. And so we want to introduce it into this niche market to allow them to pay for their traffic tickets, parking tickets, or hire an attorney. So far, our traction today is we've been able to bootstrap 4 individuals and help them maintain their driver's license and pay old traffic tickets. We've also been able to complete an accelerated program with Generator, their G Beta program for justice technology. We're super excited about that. Our market size is we went from a bottom-up approach where we see a 7.5 billion market size, and we pretty much got those calculations from just the average number of traffic tickets that are issued times the average cost of a traffic ticket. We do believe that there's more opportunity in that space, but just concentrated on the traffic ticket portion of that problem. That's where we see our TAM. We also see a sum of $22 million. Where IBS World quoted that there's a 5% market opportunity share with no major players pretty much in that market space. Some of our competitors are other BNPL models like, again, Afterpay and PayPal, Klarna, and also Advance America, which is a payday lender. And so we did some customer discovery around the jobs to be done. And one thing that we also realized one of our competitors will be is friends and family who can actually lend that money for individuals to pay these traffic tickets. But what we realized is that besides our competitors like friends or family, oftentimes those lending dollars are not reliable. You may call a mom or dad or uncle and they may not be able to loan you that money to actually pay that traffic ticket. And payday lenders are highly predatory where they charge high interest rates for these loans. And right now, Affirm and Afterpay and other BNPL models, they're not even familiar with this market space where they're actually giving out loans for traffic tickets or parking tickets. But we do understand that they have the technology to enter that space if need be. But we feel our defensibility will actually come in being early players and honing those relationships really early. And so our rev model is lending, of course, where our installments are 4 to 6 weeks. Motorists or ticket holders are able to enter into a 4 to 6 week installment where they're fined an $8 late fee if they don't make their installments weekly. Like I said, again, one of the things that we do to make sure that that we're not being predatory, because we look at ourselves sort of as a B Corp as well, where we're really community driven. And so one of the things that we do is we top off our late fees at no more than 20% of the actual cost of the traffic ticket, and then we'll shift it off to collections. And so we also charge a 20% installment fee for individuals who apply right away. So what that looks like is, let's say you have a $100 traffic ticket, and so up front you would pay that installment, 20% of that installment up front. And that just ensures us that you're serious about, making these payments. And then we have reward programs where you'll be rewarded for making on-time payments. We also have a checkout solution that we're currently building that we look to connect with merchants and other attorneys and law firms, where we charge 40 cents plus 2.9% per transaction, which actually increases their conversion rates and, pretty much stop debt holders from basically abandoning carts, because the experience is a lot more simplified and streamlined. We've also been in connection with card program management companies like Quolo, where we look to offer virtual cards. And so offering these virtual cards will allow us to actually create market opportunity through affiliate fees, where we will connect with attorneys, solo attorneys, or law firms, where we'll host them on our actual website, Ticket Avengers. And so then these motorists will be able to just make a simple click and then be redirected to these companies to make charges as a BNPL model for those who we don't have partnerships with currently. And so my team is, of course, myself and a wonderful friend of mine by the name of Kenya Abbott. We spent a lot of time up at Michigan State together. This pretty much where this idea came from. I don't know if a lot of people may know, but universities can be really, really tough on parking and traffic tickets. And it's pretty much the birthplace of Ticket Avengers. So we came together, and one of the things that we realized is that we weren't the only ones suffering from the problem of not being able to maintain our driver's license, but there were many other students on campus and other individuals outside of campus who had a hard time with maintaining driver's license and eliminating traffic ticket debt. And so with our experience around community development and Kenya's degree around economics really helps us create brand partnerships and connect with community nonprofits to further create that brand awareness and let people know that there is a solution out there to actually help individuals get back on road more safely. Okay. Yeah, so that pretty much sums up everything. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Would love to get some feedback. I'm sorry, y'all. This is my first pitch ever. Yeah, so
congrats. Q&A starts now. Does anyone have any questions for Ticket Avengers?
I was just gonna ask, like, how Ticket Avengers, like, if you pay with it, or like if you default or like miss and have to do late fees, does it affect your credit score?
No, because we don't have a we don't have like a credit threshold that you have to meet to actually be approved, so it doesn't affect the credit at all. Well, it may sometime down the line, if it's shifted down to collections because you didn't pay, but initially we're not responsible on that end.
Yes, the fact that you're making is just required, knowing how many assets they have. So based on all the low-income individuals that are trying to apply for your service, but most of these low-income individuals here approved for this interest-free payment.
Yeah. So basically, if I'm understanding, the question is that you're asking is, what is our process for approval for these?
Maybe how many percent, approximately how much percent people get approved?
Well, we're still collecting data on that. So right now, we built our MVP that collects pre-approvals, and so far, I haven't actually looked into how many people are approved versus how many people are not. But we have seen some good feedback on a lot of people being approved, because we do, like I said, we do use asset reports from banks where we look at certain thresholds. So let's say if you make $1,600 a month, you may be approved for a $250 loan. And so pretty much that's like minimum wage. So we're seeing a uptick in approvals around that area.
We do have a virtual question, and it says, what do you expect, and this is by Doug, what do you expect the average loan amount to be?
So yeah, so the average loan amount right now is like $350. Yeah.
And there's another question that says, why is there a wait list for his product of 322 plus and only 4 customers?
Well, yeah, that's because we're bootstrapped. And I used all my personal savings and to put some skin in the game and actually lend out these dollars without being able to make any revenue, because most of my revenue model is based upon strategic partnerships and being able to connect with merchants and attorneys and law firms. So just to further use proof of concept, we are fundraising to, expand our customer discovery and, get some more proof of concept to raise some dollars.
Does anyone else have a question?
So do you, somebody gets approved for the loan, so do you pay the whole ticket amount, like say to the city right then? And do you collect your percentage from the city at that beginning?
Yeah, so that's we haven't partnered with the city as of yet, but that's pretty much our plan. We're basically a colorful invoice and factoring company. So basically what that means is we'll pay that traffic ticket right up front. We'll take on the risk of the repayment, and the municipal is able to recover a lot of lost dollars. I think like in the city of Detroit, there was like $17 million lost in traffic and parking debt alone. And so what these municipals usually do is run what you call amnesty programs. And sometimes those traffic tickets are even like sliced in half just to recoup those payments. So what we want to do is say, hey, 36th District Court or 54B District Court, here's an opportunity where shoppers won't abandon their carts, and you don't have to run these amnesty programs no more. And we can use these dollars to better the community and actually make people a lot happier by, not having to worry about, being pulled over and being jailed or their license being suspended.
And we have a follow-up question with Melissa, who asked you, why is there a wait list for the program of 322 and 4 customers? She said, yeah, is the wait list equal to the email list of interested people? And why aren't they able to start using the service just like regular customers?
Well, yeah, so Melissa, that was a great question. The reason why the wait list is 322 and there's only 4 individuals who've been helped is, again, because we don't have the runway to actually pay the municipals or pay for these traffic tickets. So what we're doing right now is just keeping our customers interested through our email wait list, and just keeping up with some content and saying, hey, once we're able to close around, or we'll be able to actually service you, and really look forward to doing that.
Does anyone else have any more questions? Let's give the Perfect. You can sit.
I did this.
You did good.
I did.
I think that was pretty amazing. There are so many people that have actually, I'll take that mic.
Oh. Yeah, I almost took it home.
You guys would have been able to hear him all the way in the car. Hey, everybody. I believe that was Siri, and Siri loves to, Siri's still listening. Nope. Stop, Siri. I don't know how many of y'all have Apple phones. Siri is a very intrusive person. But that was amazing. Thank you all for coming, first of all, virtually and in person. All of those questions that you have, you can still get in contact with these people. These are live people who you are able to see. These are people who businesses are still going, who are still moving. So please get in contact with them. You can find information about all of our people, for the people who are here, on our DNewTech meetup page. All of our information, their contact, you can also find them on LinkedIn, like I did to scour for some profile images. You can find them on LinkedIn and you can get their contact there. So we want to, again, thank you all. Thank you for our sponsors for allowing us to be here. Let's give another round of applause for Collider for allowing us to use their space. And Of course, Melissa. I usually allow Doug because I know Doug, of course, loves to share about Million Cups, but I'm going to put you on the big screen so now other people can see you. Oh, yes. And now you can unmute yourself and you should be able to speak, Melissa.
Yeah. Do you want to pin my video? I know you.
Yep,
I know you know how to
course.
do this, Micah.
Of course I do. What?
I do.
It's done.
I can tell you got experience. So thank you guys all. I don't know how many people are in the room, but we really appreciate when people make time to come out and watch entrepreneurs practice their talks. All three of you did a great job, even being for the first time back in front of people or first time even presenting. And of course, the storytelling from the IP lawyer was magnificent. Doug Stone and I co-lead a similar type group to this one. It's the 1 Million Cups Metro Detroit group, and we are a nonprofit run by volunteers. It's all across the nation. We have 160 plus different groups that do this. And what we do is we provide a platform for us. It's the second Wednesday of the month from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And for us, it is still Zoom. We were meeting in person in Ferndale, but we haven't launched that back out yet. And it's basically you at a 6-minute platform versus 10, like at DNT Tech. And we're looking for you to present your business, kind of just like you did tonight. We're not set up to do angel investing or to do for you to ask people to do a sale or make an investment in your company. Although that does happen in 1 Million Cups, and some of our audience that attends regularly, they are looking for companies to invest in and to ask the deeper questions to. I think this might be a different thing. We do have a couple of business coaches. So once you apply for 1 Million Cups Metro Detroit, you will be hooked up with one of our business coaches who will look at your slideshow, answer any questions that you may have. They'll talk to you about how you can invite people to come to these presentations from your own network or other networks so that you can get some positive feedback. And we also promote you on our social medias, just like Micah did for you guys tonight. So I think I hit all the high points. Doug, if I missed anything, let me know. But we would love for any of the three of you to present with us. We present just once a month. So the sooner you get your application in, the better. There's just 3 simple questions, and we take your logo and we start to promote you.
Hey, if there's a question I can ask Melissa, what information do they need to go to find you? Is it just 1millioncups.com and then put their application in?
Yep. So Doug, if you can put in the chat the link just for us online folks, and I'm sure you're going to send a copy of the chat to your presenters tonight for their benefit. It is 1millioncups.com. What is it? /Metro Detroit. And we're also on Facebook, so you can get to our links through Facebook and LinkedIn.
Thank you so much. Is there anything you had to say, Doug?
He's probably busy putting stuff in the chat.
That is completely fine. Thank you, Melissa, so much. We will clap here physically for you.
Thank you. You guys did a great job tonight.
Now, everybody, thank you all just for, again, showing up. I want to see where my mouse is. There it is. And my closing remarks is, don't let this be a one-time stop shop. This is your first time presenting. I want other people to still get to know more about what you do. So come back. We do this once a month, the first of every Wednesday of the month. We do this. We come back here, come back to Collider, hang out, get out to know more of the entrepreneurs, get more of your stuff out there. That is what our group is about. Whether it's virtually, whether it's in person, we do not discriminate your platform of choice. So please come back out. And everyone, I am not naive to the time. It is 8:49. I didn't mean to rhyme, but that's all, folks. You all have an amazing rest of your night and have a great rest of your night, virtual family, and goodbye. Of course.